Hey guys, Courtney here with Trail Tested Manufacturing. We just sold our 2009 Sprinter and we're moving on to our next project. So we picked up a 2015 Ford Transit with the 3.5 EcoBoost motor. It's got 75,000 miles. We actually got it from the Ford dealership. It was their parts vehicle delivery van. So it's been well maintained, it's in great shape, and we're going to go ahead and start converting it. So this was a cargo van in its previous life, so all we had to do was strip out the floor. So we did that, clean the floor up, and we're going to start with insulation. In a perfect world, we would be doing spray foam insulation, but on this van, we're not really sure what our floor plan is yet or where we're going to be running our wiring. So we're going to go ahead and do the polyiso on the ceiling with Reflectix with an air gap. We're going to fill the channels with grate foam, and then for the floor, we're also going to do the polyiso with a plywood subfloor and then vinyl flooring. For the walls, we don't want to lose the depth here, so we're going to do a polyiso on the walls, and then we're going to do an upholstered headboard because we're going to have our bed back here. So we're going to start by insulating the ceiling, and we're going to get our floor plan all taped out.
So in order to get the best insulation possible on our van, with the weird shape of the ribs in the ceiling, we decided to rabbet out all the corners to make sure this would fit nice and tight up into the ceiling and also cover over the edges of the ribs.
So we went back and forth a lot on what insulation we wanted to use. In a perfect world, we'd be just spray foaming the whole van, but we weren't ready to commit to that. So we ended up choosing rock wool. The reason we chose this, it's commonly used in basements, is that if it does get moist, it actually retains its R value. It does not absorb the moisture, so it'll actually, if there is moisture in there, it can evaporate back out. It's easy to work with. It's not like fiberglass where it can get in your lungs and your skin, and we'll see how it goes. So we're using this rock wool in areas that we can't use the polyiso or the Reflectix. You can tear it up into certain shapes and sizes, so what we're doing is basically stuffing all of these cavities that we aren't going to be using with it. We're going to try and get it down in these channels, and anywhere that we can't get the rock wool, we're going to be using the Great Foam Spray Can Foam.
So we're filling up these ceiling ribs with the Great Stuff expanding foam to try to eliminate some of the thermal bridge that this rib is going to create. So we taped up some of the big holes. Now we're just spraying through the little holes as we go.
So before we can finish insulating the ceiling, we need to get our ledgers in. These are what our cabinets are going to sit on. What we're doing is we drilled pilot holes in the wood, and then we're going to be using Sikaflex, which is a construction adhesive, to not only screw them into the walls, but glue them.
Here we're working on building out these upper cabinets. We've got our ledgers in place that are permanently mounted to the van with a polyurethane adhesive. And now we're going to build out the face frame of the cabinets, put in the bottom, and then build out some doors. So we built these dividers. There's 3 of them, one on each end, one in the center. Those are attached to the ledgers and at the top and the bottom. They're going to be also trimmed out with a face trim that'll better attach them. Before installing them, we cut these dados in the dividers, and that allows the bottom of the cabinet to securely slide in, which sits on top of the ledger and inside the dado. This is giving us a really strong construction without adding a lot of extra weight.
So we're starting the face frame of our cabinets. That's going to give it structural support in this dimension because right now we have a lot of flex. So for this bottom piece, we dadoed it, which is basically with the table saw cutting a joint that's not completely through. And then this is, we're going to put wood glue in here, and we're going to get this lined up on this overlapping that we have here. And we'll glue that in and staple it in. So this is a digital angle finder, which is a tool that we originally found out about when we were building roll cages for vehicles, but it's really awesome for getting all of our cabinets perpendicular to the floor because we're parked in a driveway that's not level. So we can't use a plumb bob or just a normal level. So what you do, and by the way, this is I think 25 bucks on Amazon. So you turn it on, and we've got our straight edge running along the ribs of the floor, and we're just gonna 0 it. So now we know that's our reference point, and we want our cabinets to be perpendicular. So we can go in, hold this here, and we'll find out what angle our cabinets are at in relation to the floor. So this is a really awesome tool, cheap, and has been very helpful.